And well, kind of the nature of the story, the American dream, right? You guys came over. I love the part in the story where you had the portable in the back of your Volvo, and just grinding it out. And then, impressively start the business and then scale rather rapidly, right? So.
What really got me to sit and write Get Out the Truck was seeing so many amazing people get stuck in the truck.
And I think you said you're working on a second book?
Yeah, the struggle is real.
The struggle is real. Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. Didn't see you there. I was so invested and engaged in rereading portions of my copy of Unqualified Success by Rachel Stewart. Side note, Rachel Stewart is the CEO and founder of Accelerate Restoration Software. Software by restoration contractors for restoration contractors to help you manage your business. And if you scroll forward at the end of this intro, about 12 minutes in, we have we're partnering with Accelerate Restoration Software to give away a free iPad on a live feature that will be on October 5th. So register to get in that, no strings attached, to be considered for to win the free iPad. It's going to be co-branded with Accelerate and the DYOJO podcast. You'll get a signed copy of my book, Be Intentional Estimating, which is also on my desk, and a t-shirt from the DYOJO podcast, much like Frank here is wearing. So, yeah, Unqualified Success. I enjoy writing, and I also enjoy reading, and I don't know if you can see this super well, but literally as I was reading Rachel's book, it started forming my idea to crystallize my idea for the DYOJO as far as using that as the main driver for what I'm trying to do. I have people ask me all the time, what's the end game with the DYOJO podcast? And to be honest, I'm still working on sorting through all that, what that means, what that looks like, but it is, business coaching. We've got the DYOJO podcast as a part of trying to raise awareness and credibility with the right kind of clients. Obviously, if you watch the DYOJO podcast, we're not for everybody. That's for sure. If we're even for anybody, it's a good plan. But we have our moments, with the book and those kinds of things, and thankfully our great guests more than make up for our lack of talent. But revamp the website, good friend of mine. I had some really good conversations this week. My friend Greg Power with Web Strats, which is digital and SEO marketing. Talk about, coalescing everything, the targeting, not a funnel, not talking about a funnel, but like everything, all the content needs to gear towards the DYOJO. That's the end game, end piece. And so I had been, by creating all these ancillary deals, maybe confusing the audience. And so it's nice to be challenged once in a while. Also had a really good conversation with Skylar Lewis about some back-end stuff where he was talking about, you need to write an SOP, a functional SOP for everything, so that way you can delegate. And I was like, big proponent of that, as far as being able to hand something off that somebody else can do, create opportunities. And it starts with just writing down what the heck you do so that somebody else could say, hey, I could actually help with that. And you could say, oh, that'd be awesome, because then I can focus on other things. So that's awesome. So
let's do it. It's go time.
Oh, we were in the... I thought we took a break, and I just broke out another book from our industry, Get Out the Truck. It's actually Get Out of the Truck. Build the Business You've Always Dreamed About by Idan Shpizear of 911 Restoration. And I'm sorry, I probably butchered your last name, Idan. I know Idan was with a hard E, so... But his book as well, I think these two pair great. Unqualified success is, kind of that idea of get out of your own headspace and do what you've dreamed of. And Idan actually has a really good quote here in his book on page 4. It says, "Give yourself time to brainstorm. If you're currently working for another business in the same industry, use this opportunity to pay close attention to what works and what doesn't. Notice how customers react to the service they receive. Listen to their comments or complaints." It's so funny. I mean, that's even talking to Eric Sprague and Larry Wilburton of Morning Tech Meeting. They had a company, Shamrock Restoration. And they hadn't even intended to get into restoration, but when they were hearing about some of the complaints other people had about the people that were doing the work, and Idan talks about that in our interview, he's the carpet cleaner, goes and does extraction, gets paid quite a bit more for extraction, and then people are saying, well, can you do this, can you do this, because the people that are supposed to be doing it aren't doing it well, they're not communicating, those kinds of things. And so it's crazy how just those little things can add up to separating you from your competition. Just had a really good conversation with Lisa Lavender from Burke's Fire and Water and the Restoration Technical Institute exactly about that. I learned early on, first thing you do when you come in, you roll out the carpet mask, or you cover the hardwood floor with heavy paper or ram board. And then as every day when you leave, either vacuuming, or one day I forgot my vacuum, big no-no, right? But I had a hand broom and a dustpan, and I remember, the homeowner just saying, wow, you guys really do care. I'm like on my knees thinking, this is ridiculous, feeling bad because I forgot my vacuum, but just that act of going above and beyond in a very simple way, it clicked. It's like, man, this customer service, customer engagement doesn't have to be something complex. Just it's the little things that we do, which in talking to Lisa, she is a collaborator on what I hope to be book number 2. We've got an awesome roster of a couple names that you'd recognize, like Lisa Lavender, Andy McCabe's a part of it, but the idea is Luke Drager from Aramco is actually writing the chapter as well. Elon Posmanek from Born to Repair is writing a poem on the topic, but the idea is how little things, we talk a lot about culture, but how little things tie into making big returns in building your culture, either positively or negatively. So Idan talks a lot about that in his book, and the things that he did personally to get out the truck. And like he did in the intro, how many people you take the step to get out of the truck, but then get back into the truck or go back to what made you comfortable, rather than building the team and building on the vision and persevering. So Idan is the co-founder and CEO of 911 Restoration, the fresh start company, building a brand that makes the world a better place. A great story, living the American dream, coming over from Israel, learning carpet cleaning. Funny story in the book, and he shares, literally carrying around like a ninja in the back of their Volvo. And cleaning carpets, and then kind of, learning how to do that on the fly. After a couple hours of training, you're ready to roll, go get them. He also has a regular column, a monthly column with Restoration and Remediation magazine called Fresh Perspective. And I believe the latest one was Open to Failure, a guide for business owners everywhere. And so inspirational stuff. He shares from his own experiences and really wants to inspire people to, pursue their dreams of entrepreneurial exploits. And like you said, the next book he's writing is The Struggle is Real. So it's not just getting out of the truck, but staying out of the truck, building your business. And so our goal, you've heard it 1,000 times. Actually, you've heard it, this is episode 34, so you've heard it 33 times at least. Our goal is to help you shorten your dang learning curve. We bring awesome guests to offset my lack of talent, um, and they share what they've learned over their years of experience and trial and error. You know, anyone that's gotten there is not smarter or better than you. It's just they've learned lessons, they've skinned their knees. You know, they can share that with you. And so and we are the infotainment podcast for the skilled trades professional. So you got it here. I mean, this is wild and crazy stuff. It's not for everybody, but if you're here, you might want to listen to the end. Like I said, about 12 minutes in from this intro, we got details on how to get yourself registered for a free iPad, no strings attached, from Accelerate Restoration Software. And looking forward to this conversation with Idan, and hope you enjoy the DYOJO podcast.
Could you turn that down just a little bit?
But I was told that I could listen to the radio at a reasonable volume from 9 to 11.
Yeah, no, I know you're allowed to.
What really got me to sit and write Get Out the Truck was seeing so many amazing people get stuck in the truck while we had our journey. You know, of course, we had a lot of, ups and downs and things that we learned, and we had to take a lot of risk and trying and learning and everything that we need to go through, right? Yeah. But that journey and seeing a lot of other great people, when I say great, caring, there for their customers, really the people that we want to see that doing a lot more, just getting stuck in the truck. Yeah. And that's what this is where I love to see people grow and going on the journey as well. Yeah.
Yeah. They just kind of go back to what's comfortable, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I think you said you're working on a second book?
Yeah. The struggle is real.
The struggle is real. Okay. Yeah. And will that be more kind of going in the process of once you got the business started?
No, the struggle is real really started with, I try to, because what I learned from my experience, right, looking backwards and even going through the process, that all the struggles that I had was really for me, was really an opportunity for growth. So if you think about it, as you go through life, you hit walls, right? Yeah. And they are there without being too spiritual or mystical in any way, but they are there for us to say, okay, if I'm going to go over this struggle, I'm going to be stronger, I'm going to be wiser, I'm really going to be able to open up and evolve as a human being. Yeah. So struggle is real. Really, my goal was to write it for the same audience as business owner. But what I'm deciding now is to do have some business on it, because business is a big part of my life, but really open it to anybody that go through struggle and say, like, why do I go through this hard time? And I want my goal is to get people to start seeing it as, oh, wow, this is actually happening for me.
Right.
It's not against me, it's for me.
Or to me, right?
The mindset of, okay, whenever something happened to me is really as a sign, as an opportunity for growth.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to convey that, and I'm trying to break down kind of our survival need, like the body needs, the mind needs, and then there's a true self, and how the struggle is really helping you to bring out the true self.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you 100% self-published then?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So mine just came out. I went through Amazon for Kindle and paperback. But so that was quite a process. So let's get into your story then. I'm excited to get into your. So where did you grow up then?
So I grew up in a small. It's called Mushav. It's like 48 families in a small area in the south part of Israel. It's called Mushav Dekel, and every house have about 5 to 10 acres.
Oh, wow.
In our house and outside of the area, when we grew, cucumbers, tomatoes, flowers, a period of time. So most of my childhood, I used to work, in the fields. That's what I did. Yeah. It's, planting cucumbers so this is where I grew up. Very open environment. We were out most of the time, walking barefoot, working in the field, So this is the type of environment that I grew in,
Yeah.
very far away from the city. So it's,
Okay.
54 families.
Yeah.
So it's very small. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody in everybody's.
In everybody's business. Yeah.
I'm watching you, Wazowski. Always watching.
The good and the bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I grew up there, went to school. School for me wasn't a good experience. I felt very uncomfortable, didn't do good at school at all.
Okay.
And, college was never on my mind in any way. I was a big, I want to go to the army.
Okay.
Actually, where we grew up is think about it as, small town somewhere in the middle of the US, when it's really
community. Yeah.
work hard, small community. After that, you go to the army, right? So this is the environment that I grew in.
Is it true in Israel? Everybody joins the army, right, for a period of time?
Yes, everybody joined the army period of time. Guys do 3 years. I think girls now is changing. I think it's getting closer also to 3 years. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, but you have to go. But then the same thing is here. You have special units, special operation, right? You go and yeah.
And then you can choose if you want to stay longer or, make a career out of it, that type of thing.
When you become an officer, then you need to sign up for a few more years, and then you keep going the ranks. And
yeah. So is that what you did? Did you join the military?
Yeah. So I joined the military, served in a unit that did very special operation. I thought to sign up and stay in the army for more years, right? The mindset that and then it's right. I wanted to be in a system, right? Not the mindset that I have today that I want to build my own system. Then I wanted to fit into a system.
Yeah.
Yeah, but 2 years in, I said, I need to get out. Enough is enough.
Yeah.
Finish my 3 years, and and also my experience being in the army. My family really went through a hardship, so lost a lot of things. I mean, our house, it was just really going through a hard time. So I needed. During the army, I used to take a week vacation to go and work for a week. And go back to the army. So I'm able to, if I need to help my family and support myself as well.
Yeah.
So I went through. So that was my journey.
Yeah.
And right after the army, I worked as a bellboy and a gardener for about 2 months.
In the city now, right?
Yeah, now I moved to the city. Yep. I lived in a tiny apartment, worked 2 jobs. I knew that I'm not going to go to college or university. It wasn't even on my mind. Not my thing. Saved enough money with a good friend that I served in the Israeli army with. We saved enough money with about $3,000 together. We bought a ticket and we came here.
Wow.
Yeah, with the story of money grows on the trees. America, we'll figure it out. But we also had the mindset of, serving in the army for 3 years. We really had a mindset of like, we can go through it. Like we came here, we didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
We barely spoke the language. It was crazy.
So your history then, like growing up in a farming family, so you knew hard work, and then you go in the military, you kind of see what a structure looks like. Do you see those playing out kind of in how you?
Yeah.
But when you came to America, you didn't really have a plan. It wasn't like, hey, I'm going to start Ilan Pazmanik, he was on, I think it was episode 8. He's from Israel as well. And I asked him, so is there water damage, carpet cleaning in where you were in Israel? And he grew up similar in a farming community. So that's not a big thing, right? I mean, it's even carpet cleaning wasn't something that you had. So what's that look like? You get to America, obviously, you got to get a job, right? And then.
Yeah, we had enough money to survive a very short period of time. Yeah.
Do you have anybody you stayed with, or?
So funny enough, so we landed, we got a taxi to Santa Monica.
Okay.
We walking down the street, or we sat somewhere, we're hearing 2 Israeli girls talking close to us.
Okay.
next to us, and like, wow,
Here's
Israel.
something. Yep.
We talked to them, and then we learned that one of them, uncle, owned an apartment in Santa Monica,
Okay.
and they had a 3-bedroom apartment, and she wasn't a big fan of our uncle. Said, you know what, I'm going to bring you guys to live with us in the apartment. Don't worry, you don't need to pay anything. I just pissed off my uncle. I'm like, hey. So now we are in an apartment in Santa Monica, close to the beach, a beautiful place.
Yeah, geez.
One thing that we had in our mind is we need to get to the valley because we know that there's a bigger Israeli community in the valley, and this is how we're going to find work.
Okay.
We left Santa Monica to move to the valley.
Wow.
Yeah. Today I'm looking backward. I mean,
Yeah.
why we didn't stay in Santa Monica?
Stay on the beach. Yeah. Well, and it could have been a different outcome, right? Yeah. So.
Yeah, so it's all worked really good. Yeah. So then we figured out how to rent an apartment. We found a small building with, again, the manager of the building was somebody that I think was Israeli or was related to somebody that we got to know through our, driving around the valley. He was not nice enough to let us rent an apartment.
Wow.
So that worked for us. And then through him, we got to meet another guy. So when we speak to Israelis here in the valley, because what we did in the Israeli army, they have a lot of respect. Like, wow, this is what you guys do. We're going to help you.
Okay.
So they introduced us to a guy that owned a carpet cleaning company, and he was nice enough to give us an opportunity.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. So this is how it's all started. We went through like a day and a half of training. Here is the Ninja, the carpet cleaning machine. Yeah. We bought the Volvo for about $1,000, and that's it. And we started going out on calls.
So the Ninja's compact, but the Volvo's not very tall. Did you have to lay the Ninja on its side?
We lay it sideways, a small sunroof. So we
wow.
open it up. So part of the Ninja was like, it's kind of out of the sunroof. We had one kind of in a weird position on the back. We had the chemical in there. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah.
Wow. And residential or multifamily? What kind of commercial or residential?
Residential.
Okay.
Residential. Yeah.
Okay.
So the carpet cleaning company was not that big. There was a few salespeople, but now we rent an apartment and there's no furniture in the apartment. We basically, one of the things that our parents told us is like, don't pack a lot of things. You get to America, just buy whatever you need to buy. Now we're getting to America and it's not cheap. It's buy what we need to buy. So we decide we're just going to keep the apartment empty, the carpet. So we slept on the carpet and buy the heater.
Yep.
So every morning, 5 a.m., we get up and we go to the city.
Wow.
So every time that the company got the first lead, who is available to take the lead? We're available. We're already in the city.
Yep. So Don believes in the early bird gets a worm, right? So if you want to be the early bird, getting in on the worm being a free iPad from Accelerate Restoration Software that's going to be co-branded by the DYOJO podcast and Accelerate. You got to register. We're announcing the winner October 5th, so time is running out. Get your team registered. No strings attached. Free iPad from Accelerate Restoration Software. Check this out. If you've been watching or listening to the DYOJO podcast for any period of time, you know that we do things a little bit differently here. Our goal is to inform you, to entertain you, and to help you shorten your dang learning curve for professional development. So, in the spirit of doing things a little bit differently, here is a sponsored advertisement done a little bit differently. You need the data. You need the information. We need data.
Please, Bob.
Right? You need the data from the field, but so many of these systems are cumbersome, right? How do you help the people that you need the information from get it to you quicker. Your pinch point, you as the owner, the estimator, the project manager, production manager, you need the data.
Gimme, I need.
Right? We get paid for the data, the documentation that we can present to, the clients and the carriers and the programs. So when we start to think as people in a position of leadership, I talk about this in Be Intentional Estimating, how do we facilitate the processes so that the people that we need the information from can give it to us more consistently, clearly, and effectively.
I need. Gimme, please.
One of the things that really excites me about Accelerate Restoration software, this is designed by restoration contractors for restoration contractors, and they work diligently on their platform to make it as tech-friendly as possible. If it can't be used by the people in the field, then how is that going to translate into helping you, bill more efficiently, effectively, and get paid quicker?
All right.
We are excited. This collaboration between Accelerate Restoration Software and the DYOJO podcast. Accelerate hands down offers the best field service solution in the restoration market. They're putting their money where their mouth is. They're giving away a free iPad to prove it. We'll have a prize package together, which will include a copy of my book, a DYOJO podcast t-shirt, the free iPad, which will be co-branded from Accelerate and the DYOJO podcast. If you go to xlrestorationsoftware.com/landing/iPad-giveaway. We'll have the link in the notes. And you can register there. You can also sign up to request a free demo. But get this by restoration contractors for restoration contractors to help you shorten that time between work completed and work paid for, by presenting you with a tool that is easy for your techs to use so you get the information that you need.
Gimme, I need.
Check it out. We'll have the links in the show notes, and look forward to seeing you all live October 5th when we announce the winner of the Accelerate Restoration Software iPad free giveaway.
5 o'clock, when all the rest of the technician went back home, we have nothing to go back to.
Yeah.
Stayed in the city. It says if a job is going to come in, we'll take the job.
Wow.
Right? So we start working 12 hours, 13. We didn't care. We just, every call, we went to jobs all the way down to Orange County, almost to San Diego. We drove to carpet cleaning jobs all the way to Santa Barbara sometime.
Holy cow.
Yeah, the gas then costs, what it was, like 80 cents a gallon.
Yeah.
Right? And we didn't care. We have nothing else to do. I mean, sometimes when you're in a position that you don't have any other options,
Yep.
good place to be in.
Well,
Right?
it's funny you mentioned that because so I started as a service master in Ventura, California, and same kind of thing. We would have periods of work where it gets slow. When I got that job, I don't think my wife had quite yet had our first daughter. But when it was slow periods, they would tell us, hey, there's no work tomorrow, da-da-da-da-da. Well, I would go in and I would just sweep the warehouse for free. Exactly the same kind of thing. Like, I couldn't afford to not be working. So then if a call came in, I'd just say, hey, I'm here, I'm just sweeping, and then the call would come in and then I could take it, so, or, somebody on one of the other teams would say, hey, you can come with us for the day or something like that, So I think maybe there was maybe one day that I didn't work, but other than that, I would, exactly like you're saying, I'd get the calls, it just wasn't an option,
Exactly.
So that's wild. Okay. So you're working for a carpet cleaning company. Now, was this, so they generate the leads, would they pay you by the job or is it commission based? Was there an encouragement for upsell? Yep.
Just commission, no base.
Yep. Oh, wow. So you guys had to hustle.
We had to hustle. There was no option, but that really helped us we learned so much because we didn't know anything about culture. We didn't really understand how, America works. So that year of being out and, driving everywhere, interacting with so many people, building relationship. So we were very big on relationships, right?
Yeah.
It was something that I think where we grew up with and service, being in the army, we cared about people. it's always been part of the way we operate.
Yep.
So that really was great opportunity for us to really understand how things work, and also develop more of a salesmanship.
Yeah.
Right, because where I grew up, it's I live in a small farm. It's like I never sold anything. I mean, I sold small things because I needed to, but I never thought about sales. I never thought about how can I close a deal.
Right.
I never thought about building a relationship with the manager of a building.
Right.
Doing more work.
Right.
But as we interact and because we cared, and we brought a lot of energy to everything that we did. It was like we are happy, we're blessed to do what we do. It was really a crazy experience. At one point, we lived 5 guys in 1-bedroom apartment, right? So think about it. We are out 12 hours. Everybody come back, and we all worked in carpentry or something that related to it. And like we are every night we're sitting and having conversation about our customers and how we work with them and our experience. And now we all grew out of it.
You almost had your own little peer networking group, huh?
Yeah.
So you had a week and a half of training, right? Or I'm sorry, a day and a half.
Yeah.
So it's not like your training was super thorough. So you guys are learning on the job what works, what doesn't work, right? Like most people. And then, like you said, you're going San Diego to Santa Barbara. People in California or people outside of California probably wouldn't understand. I mean, that's it's an extremely inefficient route.
If you think about being on traffic on the 405 and 101, sometimes we can drive 4 hours.
There's just no way to get around LA. Yep.
Yeah, you're going to sit in traffic. That's it. And
well, it's funny.
4 hours to do a $100 job.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. So I before here I was in Oregon, and a lot less population density. It's mostly around Portland. So people like in Eugene would complain about traffic. Like, you guys have no idea. And then here in Seattle, it is quite a bit, it's more congested. There's less thoroughfares through, and still nothing compares to 405. I used to like red eye, get up at 3-4 in the morning to take a plane. You either flew in the early in the morning or late at night. You don't ever want to go through LA really at any time during the middle of the day. So you got very little training. You have extremely inefficient routes, but you guys are learning. Yeah. So you mentioned in the book, I love this quote, give yourself time to brainstorm. If you're currently working for another business in the same industry, use this opportunity to pay close attention to what works and what doesn't. Notice how customers react to the service they receive. Listen to their comments or complaints. Yeah. So, and that's from your book, Get Out of the Truck. When did that start? When did it start coming into play, when you start thinking, well, what if we did this for ourselves?
So our first year here was, look, we came here, really, my family thought that it's probably going to take me a month and I'm back home.
Yeah. You'll be broke, right?
Yeah. So our first year here, we really looked at it. We didn't know that we're going to stay here. It was really, let's
check it out.
Let's see what's going on here. And during the first year, we also, we had a few opportunities to go to flooded houses, right?
Oh.
So once a month or every 2 months, especially after our first 6 months in the business, we got a call for a flooded house, and we are out there and we extract the water and we charge about $600. Now for us, it was, wow, it's huge. We celebrate after we sold a $600 by going and eating Chinese food.
Okay, yeah.
Celebration for us.
Yeah, the American way.
What we saw then is, as we extracting the water, and really we spend all this time with the homeowner, really trying to calm him down, right? It's like, we don't know a lot about how this industry work, about the water damage and insurance and all that work, but we care about the client. This is something that was always with us. And then we saw another company coming in with blowers and dehumidifiers and doing all the things like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah.
We just thought that we're going to extract the water and we are done. But the insurance company sent another company to do the dry out and everything else. So we see this company coming in, setting up blowers. The only thing that they cared about was setting up their equipment, getting the homeowner to sign everything that they need to sign, told them that everything is going to be fine. They're going to be back in 3 days.
And then just,
okay.
yeah.
Something here that, I mean, it seems like they're going to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
But their customer experience is terrible.
Terrible.
Nice try. No, correction. Terrible try.
Yeah.
I'm charging only $600 and I'm here with a client. They're out.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah.
That got me to, okay, I need to understand what is this business? What is these blowers, dehumidifiers? How they're going to dry the house? Like, what's going on here?
Right.
So that got us to start exploring that side of the business.
Huh.
And so that started opening our mind to, okay, wow, there is something here. There's an industry that I don't know about, but I can recognize now that there is, from my one experience, I see that the customer experience is not there. And then we saw it again and again and again in our first year here. Then we left for Thailand for about a month, kind of just getting out there. We went to Israel, and then we decided we're coming back to America, but we're coming back to open a business.
Wow.
And we want to explore more the restoration industry.
Yeah.
Right. So at that point, we did more homework. I mean, we learned more about the industry itself. When we came back, we start learning more, and then every dollar that we made, we start investing it back into equipment.
Fine.
So we bought 3 blowers, 5 blowers, 20 blowers, a few dehumidifiers. Now, when we got a call to a water damage, we did the entire project.
Yeah.
Now, instead of making $200-300 for a carpet cleaning job, now suddenly we're getting paid $5,000, $7,000, $15,000.
Yep.
And very fast, we got into doing the repairs as well.
Huh.
Now we're going and we're making $40,000. You know, it's for us, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So we said, okay, we want to make a shift and doing much less carpet cleaning, and we want to start focusing and seeing how do we generate more work, more flood work, more fire and mold and all that. The carpet cleaning company that we work with, once we became the company in a way, right? Because we did most of the work. The second part is there was very carpet cleaning oriented. So we started thinking, okay, we want to switch into a water damage. Yeah. This is when we had a discussion. We said, okay, in a way, we took over the business. We worked something with the owner of the business. We want to be able to say that we own a business for so many years, right? Because we have heavy accents. We're learning the language as we've been here for so long. Yeah. So at that point, we shifted into the water damage industry. We did maybe a few carpet cleaning jobs every month. And what was the bigger shift is I think one of these days we're sitting somewhere and we're hearing people having a conversation talking about AdWords. There is a way to advertise on Google. You can set up an ad and a number.
Oh, gotcha.
And set it up. People will see it, call you, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, wow, what is this thing? What is Google? What is advertising online? Right. Yeah. So same night, went back home, and I spent just hours of how this thing works. How do I set up a campaign?
Do you remember what year this was?
This was probably 2003.
Oh, okay. So this is early.
Oh, very. Yep. Yeah, we were one of the only companies in the area.
Wow.
That advertise online.
Right.
So yeah, that was huge for us. And then we spent a click was about $1.
Yeah.
Now it can go anywhere from $75 to $350.
But there were so few people using it at that time. You're probably getting great ROI.
It was insane.
Yeah. You want to talk about insanity? How many people out there are struggling with profitability, having dysfunction in your production teams, and just ready to throw in the towel, pull your hair out, wondering why things aren't working? The book Be Intentional Estimating by John Isaacson, the Intentional Restorer, can help you and your team with estimating, whether you're a new contractor trying to figure out how to charge for your services, a property restoration company trying to get things systematized so that you get consistent outcomes, or a training, a manager responsible for training, trying to help your guys and gals carve out a career path. Check this out. But this is what your estimates look like when you just take a bunch of line items. Take a bunch of line items. Just take a bunch of line items. And you throw them against the wall and you hope they stick. And you hope some adjusters brave enough to come up and say, yeah, it'll work. Why is an estimating structure, process, mindsets, habits important? A bad estimate, a jello estimate that won't stick to the wall, that's your profitability. That's your ability to hire more people. That's your ability to put some things away for retirement. That's your ability to take a vacation. That's your ability to not be stressed out every single day that you come into work. Just take a bunch of line items. These hot potatoes, this book I hold in my hand, Be Intentional Estimating by John Isaacson, the Intentional Restorer, is available from the DYOJO.com /book 1. You can get it as well in Kindle or paperback. If you want to order in bulk, we can provide you an author discount. Contact us, thedyojo.com /book 1.
Yeah. We average, before I found out on advertising online, we average about $250,000 a year.
Wow.
Figure out Google with understanding customer experience.
Right.
We went from 250 to close to $3 million in sales.
You just heard somebody at random talking about Google AdWords at a coffee shop.
But was the thing that we just spend hours and hours and figure it out. I set up a campaign. I put up a phone number up. Budget of about $10 a day. Nothing. $10 a day. A day after, I'm getting a phone call.
Yeah.
This was insane. Like this thing this is crazy. Now every day I'm getting a phone call now.
It's funny. Maybe you've heard this. Like people say, are you smart or lucky? And I think it's a lot of my best clients over the years it's been a bit of luck, right? I hit at the right time. But if you're not out there hustling, you never get that opportunity to reap the benefits of luck, right?
Yeah, it's the same thing as when you just shared your story, when you didn't have any work and you went to the warehouse. Yeah. So you're creating the opportunities because you're out there.
I got lucky, right? But I was in the spot,
Look, I'm sure that a lot of people heard about AdWords at the same time.
Yes.
Some took action and took that.
I
wouldn't call it a risk, but
it was an unknown, right?
It was unknown, but I love walking. I love the unknown. I'm very comfortable, right? I mean, you need to develop this muscle of walking into the unknown. All that. Like there's so many things. I think we're being an entrepreneur, building a business. You have to be able to walk into the unknown, right? This is where you have a vision. This is where you have something that you want to create. We don't know. And everybody looking from the side, like, are you crazy? What are you doing? And then as you're going through it, it's like, okay, can you teach us?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, so many businesses, right? And I'm sure you've seen this over the years, and as you guys have franchised too, you're really good, right? You mentioned that, you don't have to be great at everything, but be good at something. And at some point, you start to, like, this opportunity comes, right? And you're like, it's a risk to step away from carpet cleaning that's working for you and extraction and now develop a company. But some people can go off the rails and grow too big, too fast. Did you have any of those where, what did the process of that look? I mean, it's not like you just snapped your fingers and all of a sudden you guys were a $3 million, company, but what were some of those hiccups?
Building a team, it's something that, suddenly from working just you know,
Yeah.
just asked to suddenly I need to start hiring. Like,
Yeah.
how do I hire? Who do I hire? I mean,
Yeah.
I just, you know what? You just need to answer the phone. So you're going to sit here. This was my job description.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
Sit here
Be
and
nice
answer
to the
phone.
client. We answer every phone calls. We're not going to miss any opportunity. Right?
Yeah.
Hiring, understanding what is building a team, what is the culture.
Yeah.
Every meetings once a week.
Yeah.
Mean,
Yeah.
one of the things that I think worked very well, I was always looking for people that can give me advices. Right, so I always went out there and looked for, I was very open for people to tell me where I'm wrong. And that also something that I developed. I'm like, listen, I don't need to be right all the time. When I'm wrong, really have an opportunity to learn. And what I'm saying now is these are the standing even. It took me a long time to get it. Right. So I hired the wrong people. We screwed up on a lot of jobs, but I was, I paid back and I took care of a client, because I think when you have caring, right, at the center, and this is why today we have the fresh start. Right, caring about the team, caring about our clients. That when it's real, I think that will carry you through ups and downs when you're hiring the wrong people, when you're making mistakes, and you really come from a place of, listen, I tried my best, I made a mistake. If I need to pay for it, I'll pay for it. If I need to come back to fix it, I'll fix it. I own it. So.
Well, maybe you identify with this. I've got this chart that I've used or developed over the years for like how I process training. And I've always tried to communicate, in order to have a business, you have to have happy customers, right? You got to have smiling faces, and you got to be profitable. Like if you don't have those two things, if you got happy customers but you're not profitable, you got a great reputation, but you're not going to have a business for long, right?
Yeah.
But if you're profitable and you don't have happy customers, at least in most service-based businesses, it's a slow decline, right? And so, but the trick is, I think so many owners, managers focus on the profits, and this falls off, and then they both fall off.
Oh no! We suck again!
Right? Whereas our everyday technicians, our managers, project managers, if we can get them to focus on making happy customers, we can find ways to be profitable, right? We can be more efficient. We can, we'll figure it out. But so many people just focus on that profitability piece, and they lose all the rest. And your everyday technician, they do affect profitability as far as efficiency and customer service. But if we can get them to think about happy customers, we'll figure it out as a team. Is that something you believe in?
Yeah. So I'm putting team first.
Yeah.
Customer second.
Yeah.
Right? Because if I take care of my team, they will take care of my customers.
Yes. Yep.
Right. So.
Well, your team is your customer now, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And this is something that, right, if they feel that they are part of a bigger vision, they feel that they are part of a family, a team, they work together, they understand, there is transparency, there's clarity. Right? Today, for example, we're using a system that's called OKR. So everybody in the company knows what everybody else are working on. People know what I'm working on. People know what I'm accountable for.
It's not shrouded in mystery.
No, this is what I'm working on. Look, I make mistakes. I need the team to work with me. I need the team to be able to grow their department. I need them to feel that they own the business. And we are really doing something important. It's really, there's a lot that goes beyond the fresh start attitude. That we are putting out there, that align with get out of the truck. It's really a passion when we're working with a franchisee or supporting a business owner, that we want to see him successful. And this is something that we celebrate. And whenever we see somebody on our team internally grow within the company, evolve. I think as people, you have to evolve. When the people in the company evolve, the company itself evolve. Right? The company cannot evolve.
That's really good.
within the company. So taking care of your team will really take care of everything else.
That's
the thing that I believe that one of our responsibilities as a business owners, we have to evolve. You have to learn new things. You have to work on your skills. You have to be open enough to admit when you're wrong, when you're right, what you're going to do to keep getting better.
Yeah.
And you sending it as a message, you're showing it as a leader to the rest of the team. And that result with building more leaders within the organization.
Yeah.
This is really our goal.
I like that a lot. The company cannot evolve beyond the evolution of the people. So
Absolutely.
Get out of the truck is people that want to be entrepreneurs actually stepping outside of their comfort zone and making a business. What's maybe one do and one don't? Like, so say someone's listening to this and they're really thinking about, making that leap. What would you say is a real important thing for somebody to do, and maybe as important, don't do this? One thing you've learned.
The most important thing is somebody that starts a business. I mean, really, it's for any person.
Yeah.
You have to grow as a person.
Okay. Yep.
It's the number one thing, because your reality, what you experience, it's a reflection of your inner world. You are creating your own reality, and you only can create better when you grow internally.
When you force yourself, yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
The reason, one of the things that I don't think that the situation that you're in today is concrete. This is what it is. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah. You can change. Everything can change. Listen, I'm trying to, I don't know how even to emphasize it more. If I, one thing, you have to grow as a person. Everything around you will grow. One of the reasons that I wrote this book is because I see, and I think we started the conversation that way, I see a lot of great people out, right? They got into the business of restoration or plumbing or roofing because, it's not expensive to get into this business. It's fairly easy. A lot of them told their dad, their uncle, their friend, somebody's been in this business. They needed to work when they were 20 or 18 or 25. So they learn how to put roofing. They learn how to put plumbing. Now they've nothing to do. They bought a truck, a toolbox, and now they're plumbers.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is but nobody really gets into this business and say, you know what? For the next 50 years of my life, I'm going to be in the truck and I'm going to fix pipes.
Yeah.
Everybody have these dreams.
Yep.
I want to make $1 million. I want to be able to grow this company. But when reality shift in and their own limitation, they're getting stuck.
Yeah.
They're not building a team. They don't think that they deserve more. There's a lot of built-in limitation within them.
Yeah.
But what they end up doing, and this is what really kills me when I see it, people that's still in the truck. And when I'm saying the truck, there is the symbolic part of a mindset, right? Get out of the truck, the actual truck, and also get out of your own mind, right? I'm telling people a lot, stop buying your own shit. Nonsense. Get out there. Surround yourself with the right people. Read, learn, grow. Get uncomfortable.
Speaking of getting uncomfortable, let's have a little bit of an uncomfortable conversation about unlocking creativity, allowing people to be their whole selves at work. We had a great conversation with Stephen Harrington, the diva of insurance. We talked about his creative employment agreement with his employer that has allowed him to pursue his entrepreneurial aspirations and has been a benefit to the core company. Creative employment opportunities, carving out a career path for yourself by doing something nobody else wants to do. Creative management solutions, learning the nuances of your people. What do we call it? Soft skills development, emotional intelligence, those kinds of things. So it was a great conversation on creativity, how, when the owners embrace that, it trickles down and has positive impacts on everything in the organization, including profitability.
I went back to my boss. I was like, so it looks like I might be able to make a good little penny on the side if I, get a business license. And he's like, well, okay, how is that going to work? And I was like, well, I think working in other people's systems makes me also see the errors in our system. So that would be one thing. Also, we're building relationships with other agencies that may be getting ready to sell, and we're always ready to buy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of a different way of building a bridge, or looking at somebody being like, hey, maybe it really is time for you to retire.
Yeah.
Let me put you in contact with somebody.
Yeah.
But it ended up, so I got my business license, I got a couple of clients, and then the consultant that we worked with was like, hey, if you can get a couple of testimonials and a couple clients under your belt, I'm happy to start referring you to some of my clients that I know could really use your help.
Wow.
So through that, we've ended up coming up with an entire process for her. She's doing everything remotely right now. And I've done all the training guides of how to set up the system and how to look at what you're looking for and running reports. And at the same time, I'm implementing them in our office as well.
Yeah.
So it's something we were already doing. It just was taking it to the next level, cleaning it up, making it nice, pretty, putting a bow on it, and then saying, okay, team, tear it apart.
Yeah.
And the staff here is happy to tell me when I've done something wrong.
Oh, well, pardon me, Mr. Perfect! I guess I forgot that you never ever make a mistake!
They're happy to, be like, oh, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then I can go and fix it.
Well, that's a beautiful part of culture, right? So many people don't want negative feedback, and negative feedback is where
if all I ever got was positive feedback, I wouldn't grow. I mean, I need to know what's wrong or what's broken, because I thrive on trying to fix it or solve the puzzle.
Well, that's what fulfills that vision of being ahead and staying ahead, right?
Right.
It's going to break down. Entropy comes into play, and everything's going to break down, or something new comes out. So you have to allow for that feedback. Yeah. How do you guys, or do you, is it important to you? We want feedback, but we want it constructively, or, do you have a filter on that to try to, some people, like you said, people's feelings, right? There are some people that have never been around constructive criticism, right?
Correct.
So how do you navigate that?
I think I've gotten to know each person individually pretty well. So I know kind of their attitude and how well or not well they will handle any situation.
Yeah.
So I think it's just tailoring the conversation to each individual, which is really important. I can't talk to person A the same as I can talk to person B.
Yeah.
One of my team leads, I can call and we can be swearing at each other like we're going to kill each other.
Yeah.
Right at the end of the call, we're like, okay, still love you, bye.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the other one is more of a, okay, here's what we need. Here's the steps we need to do. Can you take this from here?
Yeah.
Call me if you get stuck. Yep. The other one is like, okay, this is messed up. You need to fix it. Call me when it's done.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just kind of learning each person's learning style. And I mean, their style to begin with is really important as well.
Yeah.
Well, I could be wrong, but I believe diversity is an old wooden ship that was used during the Civil War era.
Well, I think that's what's a lot of times misunderstood about the golden rule is treat people the way you want to be treated, right? Mm-hmm. But I think too often we filter that as, well, this is how I learned. This is how I receive information. What's the problem? I'm giving you the same opportunities I got. I'm yelling at you just like my mentor yelled at me. And it's
that was my struggle moving from, I wasn't necessarily management in my last location, going into a management position was, if there was an error, it was the end of the world and it better be fixed, and it was your problem, and somebody was always at fault. Whereas here, it's like, okay, this is a lot bigger. There's 20 people. There's multiple options for things that could have gone wrong. Where in the process did it fail, and what can we do to prevent it the next time?
Yeah.
But it took a whole lot of, again, I've had to learn everybody's personality so that I could train in a different way.
Right.
Before it was, here's how we do it. Here's why. Here's the numbers, and this is what we need.
Get on the same page. Yeah. Yep.
And I think you run into the wall so many times doing that, then you're like, oh, what do we maybe need to look at that's a little different?
Yeah. If you enjoyed that clip or want to hear more with our conversation with Stephen Harrington, the diva of insurance, listen to the DYOJO podcast, episode 33. You can watch it on YouTube, listen to it on Spotify. Check it out. You brought up, you had a partner, right? So there's some real good aspects of that. You know, I'm sure you have an off day and he can say, no, we're doing this, and vice versa, right? But then you guys had your peer group of people that are hustling. It's infectious, right? When you're around people that are ambitious, that drives you, that positive peer pressure, right? You're like, well, these are kicking butt.
Yeah. It's so. Here is a great example. 2 weeks ago, I spoke with a friend, and he's struggling. So he fits well into this. I'm stuck at a $300,000-$400,000 a year.
Yeah.
Thing. Telling him, what is the first thing that you're gonna do once you reach $1 million? And his answer to me is, when I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna change the group of friends that I'm involved with. Yeah. So I told him, so this is where you flip it around. If you want to get to $1 million, you change the group of your friends today. Right. Because the conversation, the environment that you're in are just reinforcing the limited mindset that you have. Yeah. You have to change.
Well, and I see too, and I just sat down with a contractor, and I always try to tell people you can grow two ways, right? Like you can be, and this particular person is really good at drywall. And I've told this story before, so it sounds like it, but and I was like, man, you are phenomenal. I mean, there's not a texture the guy can't match. He's super clean, very personable, you know, one of the best people I know, just, you know, real nice person. And I was like, you can build your business two ways. One is you are the guy, you do all the work yourself, but you're going to need to charge, you know, exponentially. So that way you can put money away for retirement. You know, you can have a vacation, you know, do the things that you want to do to have a balanced life, right? Or you need to build a team, you know, and train people to do the little stuff, and while you're still doing the big stuff, and training them to replicate. And either way is fine. Either way can be growth, and either way can produce a real nice future for yourself. But you've got to decide which one you're going to be. And a lot of times the guys we met another guy that was a real skilled tiles person. And I was like, you're not charging enough, you know, to do what you do. Like, you're not like all these other people that do tile and it's crooked, or, you know, the grout lines are gross, you know. So it is possible. You don't necessarily, growth doesn't necessarily mean you get to billions and millions of dollars.
Exactly. So this is where you need to, I think it's important when you go through the growth process as a person, you're going to start looking for fulfillments. Yes. It's not going to be just a survival that I need to make X amount of money. When the fulfillment come in is like, I want to work with a great team. I want to have a certain impact. I want to have a certain influence, right? And that become a big part. And I think a very important part. Because you don't want to get to, you know, 50, 70 years old and said, okay, great. So I drywall that I'm not putting anything down. It's all great, and whatever works for you works. I just want to see my wish and what I learned from my own experience. It's fulfillment is very important part. You want to see that you build a great team, that you're working with people that you love and enjoy. Look, I really love the team that work with me. I really enjoy it. I think we're doing amazing things. So there is a lot more to it. So, and when you get to these points, more money will come. The growth will come because you're doing the right things. So money will come in. What I want to say, if you understand that you're great in putting drywall, right? This is your thing. You need to hire somebody that is great in sales or great in marketing, right? You don't have to be good in everything. If you're good in one or two things, that's amazing. Just spend most of your time how to get these one or two things to be amazing. Really, you separating yourself from the competition. Right. But you're building a team around you that do the things that you Don't try to do everything. So I think where people are getting stuck, right? When people get stuck, it's like, oh, I tried to do sales, so I failed, so I'm just going to try and do the drywall. I said, no, if sales is not your thing and you're great in drywall, find a partner, find somebody. And look, building a strong team is a huge part of being successful in business, right? So if you need to give a small percentage, if you need to give big bonuses to your team, don't be greedy. I understand that there's a bigger game here.
Yeah.
Right. One of the things that I say a lot is people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but they really underestimate what they can do in 5 years.
Yeah.
And that's a very short mindset of like, oh, so I'm going to make less money this year, but you're going to make so much more in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
We did it! We did it! Right there! Right there! Ooh! 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 Yeah, baby!
So somebody's gotten out of the truck, right? So that's our first group of people need to, to follow your dream, put some plan behind your dreams and make it a reality. Like you said, there's a lot of people that they get out of the truck and then for whatever reason they go back in. Maybe they weren't charging enough, maybe hit opposition, you get that one bad customer that really, zaps the life and the money out of you.
Yeah.
What would you say, what worked for you and what would your encouragement be to that person that's teetering on that,
just keep going.
Yeah.
To keep it as simple as possible, keep going. You make mistakes, fix it up, keep going, fix it up, keep going. It's okay. So if you need to have, I'm not saying, I don't believe in 5 years business plan, but I believe in have a vision.
Yeah.
See where you want to be in 5 years and do everything that you need to do to get there. Right? I'm not the person saying you need to work hard, you need to work hard. It's not about working hard, because I know a lot of people that working very hard.
Yes.
And they're just spinning their wheels.
Yes. Yep.
Right? So it's not about working hard, it's about understanding what is the next step that you need to take
right.
to get closer to the vision that you have.
Right.
When you're in the process of getting out of the truck and something doesn't work, you need to think, okay, maybe this is not what I need to do. I need to find help. I need somebody to do it. Right? Yeah. If I'm not in sales, I'm not in sales, if I don't know how to interview people. Look, I learned very fast that I'm terrible in interviewing people. Right? I love people too much. So every time I interview something, I see the good things in people.
Yeah.
I learned that now when we hire somebody, I'm the last one that interviewed the person.
Yeah.
Right? Because for me, I just want to make sure that he's good fit to the culture, and I want him to see what the impact that we're trying to have as a company. Yeah. So I interview once, twice in the beginning, and I understand that I'm not doing it right.
Right.
I said, okay, I need to find a different way. So from today, I'm gonna hire somebody to interview for me, so I can pay him per an interview.
Yeah.
Or I can get the rest of the team in the office to interview the person.
Yeah.
Right. So here is a change. Also, the daily operation of the business is not my strength.
Right.
So when I was confident enough and open enough to say, you know what, this is what the areas that I'm good at.
Yes.
I'm going to this person on my team to do the day-to-day of operation of the company.
Yeah.
And I give them a space. I need to give them trust, and we need to be patient.
Yeah. Patience. Yeah, that's huge.
You have to have patience. This is where don't overestimate what you can do in 1 year. This is take patience away. You have to have patience. You have to have focus. Look, I think we made and we're still making mistakes.
Yeah.
But if you don't make mistakes, you mean that you're not trying new things.
Yes. Yep.
It's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, don't go back to the track because of a mistake. If you try to sell something and it didn't work for you, or you go and you get a sales book, or you go and you spend 10 hours on YouTube, right? There's so much content out there about sales, and you give it another try and another try. And at one point, if this is not what you're supposed to do, you get somebody else to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
well, I think that's the too often, what really interests me is like that story in the middle, right? Because so many of the business books are, I was this and now I'm this, and we miss all that stuff in the middle that led to that.
Yeah.
And what a lot of people don't realize, and what some successful people forget is, I'm not smarter than you. I'm not better than you. I'm not more handsome than you. I've got this many years of trial and error, right? And so, and remembering to say, hey, I learned this because I stubbed my toe, I hit my head against the wall, right? And so I'm glad you said that, because that's on the podcast, that's our goal, help people shorten their learning curve, right? So if people can pick up a piece from you that helps them, maybe not make this or that mistake and get a little bit closer, and make a different mistake, right? But exactly like you said.
Today, with all the information, because of the internet, all the information that is available to us, if you set up your mind to learn something new and you spend 20 minutes a day on YouTube, think how much you can learn in 1 month.
Yeah. Or an hour a week listening to the DYOJO podcast, right?
Absolutely.
So this is probably my favorite quote from your book. It's on page 44. It starts out, you said, service is not just about the quality of your work. It's also about how the customer feels throughout the interaction. I like that. A lot of people are talking about not just customer service, but the customer experience, right?
Yeah.
And then this is the part where I think it hits, for a lot of leaders, is I cannot tell you how many times a business owner has complained to me that business was slow because of marketing. Blame the marketing department, right? But then when I called their store, the receptionist was rude, disinterested, or unhelpful. Yeah. So it's crazy. I've worked with a couple companies, and they want like Xactimate shortcuts, or how do we make more money, and these kinds of things. And you start talking about, well, first, exactly what you've been talking about. What are your strengths and weaknesses? How does your team work together? Like, no. Yeah. How do we make more money in Xactimate? And it's like, well, there's a whole lot more to it than just jump in and punch in line items, right? So, and you hit a key one, right? If you're pumping all this money into AdWords, and then they call and the receptionist is like, yeah, what do you want? Is that it? Or what's you go through the fast food, is that it? Versus say like a company, I'm not even a big fan of Chick-fil-A, but they're like, they have mastered kind of a customer experience, right? They're well known for that. Yeah. So, like you said, the customer experience, and then how have you, so when it's just you and your partner, right? You have direct control over customer experience. What have you learned about translating the heart of where you've come? I see a lot of leaders aren't great at the leadership download. This is the story of our company. These are the things we've learned. What has been some of the things that have helped you try and especially as you franchise, right?
Yeah. So the fresh start attitude, it's something that it's real.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't need to think about it.
Yeah.
Right? This is a part of what I believe, that a business is a vehicle for us to express more than who we are and what we care about. Right. So the fresh start is really come from a place of, I want to have an impact. I believe that small business owners have really a privilege to have a good impact on their community, right? Yeah. Because we interact with so many people. So my thought is not only how I provide great customer services, how can I uplift my clients?
Sure.
How can I make them feel better?
Yeah.
Right? I have a human being in front of me, right? I fix their pipes. I can get to their house and I can be worried about my payroll and my employees and all these headaches that's going on. Or I can walk into the house and say, okay, this is an opportunity for me as a human being. I'm going to meet another person. How can I have a positive impact on him?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So when this is part of really who you are, and we talked about earlier about fulfillment, right? To feel more full as a human being, as a person. So when it comes across that way to your team, when you talk about it, when it's on our walls in our office,
Yep.
It's everywhere, and we celebrate it. It's become really part of the company. This is the culture. right? And I think one of the questions that you asked me, I think in an email, is if you consciously build a culture, or you just say, you know, I'm going to get to the culture stuff later.
Yeah.
Culture will develop. You have a culture in your company, if you want it or not, right? So it's important that we're conscious about it, that we're developing the culture that we want to develop. And again, I don't know if whoever is listening to it, it's not like I was born with this understanding.
Yeah.
I understand that, no, culture is not important. I'm seeing that my culture in the office sucks. And I have people that are arguing with each other all the time. So it wasn't that way all the time. It took me a long time to understand that. And that by reading books and business cases that I understand. And I heard other leader about how they shifted the business.
Yeah.
Not by improving sales, not by improving marketing, by building the right team. But the right places, the right people in the right seats, but making sure that they have the culture that is real to them.
Yeah.
So by doing it that way, now customer service gets it, marketing gets it. This is the articles that we put out. This is the stories that we put out. This is the success stories that we put out with our franchisees within the office, so they see what really is important to us. And when you put your team first, and you really mean it, they will feel it. They feel it.
I think that was, I don't know if I disagree or just wanted to clarify. Probably the only part you said, I'm talking about your work environment and team values. A culture develops naturally anytime you bring a group of people together. Their attitudes, the way they treat each other, the way they approach their work, the values they uphold, these elements define your company culture. Yeah. Are you saying, because yeah. So I always say culture, people make culture this like mystical thing, right? And culture is what you do, right? Is that what you're saying? Like your people come in, there is a culture. The only question you have to ask is your culture intentional or is it just happening? And
this one I mean when you're doing it consciously, so it's intentionally. This one, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and so it's
important. You cannot look at your people as just there to make you profit. It's not going to work. It's going to fail. I mean, I learned it on my own enough times that, it's important. Put people first. Everything else will follow.
Yeah. If the DYOJO podcast, which is the infotainment podcast for skilled trades professionals, isn't wild enough for you, you need to check out Pro vs. Joe, host Brian Close, the Joe, and myself, John Isaacson, the Pro. A little more laid back. We usually enjoy a nice cigar, some whiskey. We've been having some guests. Our first returning guest, David Princeton of Claim Advocate Service, joined us last time. And a little more laid back discussion about the transition from construction or another industry into insurance claims and that whole process. So here's a little snip of the intro for Pro vs. Joe, the podcast within the DYOJO podcast. So our concept for this is pros versus Joes, right?
What is this, amateur hour?
37 minutes. Engaged. On location podcast. Pro vs. Joe.
Oh, that's it. I've had it with this dump.
But I'm too slick. Better pick up the game. Staring. We can't do this. It's over. That's a cool story too.
We got no food. We got no jobs. Our pets' heads are falling off.
What we're calling this, pros versus, or not pro versus.
I don't know who you are.
Joe, Pro and Joe, pros versus Joe.
I don't know what you want.
Pros versus Joe. Pros versus Joe.
Regardless of get mine. Another long day, never say don't try. Ain't about paying my face, don't lie.
Shut up, you're so annoying.
But again, going back to your company can evolve beyond the evolution of the people. So invest in the people. And
1,000%.
So when did you, was it early on or right away, or when did you decide to franchise? Because that is probably one of the most unique aspects of 911 restoration is you've scaled rather rapidly. So what led to the intention of franchising, and then how have you been intentional about trying to make sure now that you're bringing in other people completely outside of, they're not in your local office, they're not people that work directly for you in that sense, they're independent owners who are extending your brand. So what have been some of those challenges? And
so first of all, I didn't know anything about franchise before I started the process of franchising. So idea of franchise never anything that I thought about. So how it came up, so when Katrina happened, so at that point we had a lot of vehicles and a lot of equipment, so we went out to New Orleans from California. Wow. So one of the things that happened is at night, so where everybody parked their campers, I got to interact and meet a lot of business owners
from all around
the restoration industry. Now, everybody's from a different part of the country, so we didn't really compete with each other. Right? And when Katrina happened, there was so much work. So we weren't even competing in Katrina. But like at one point, we gave agreement between us because we tried to help as many people as we can. It was disaster. And what I learned is that a lot of, now I'm being here only a few years and I'm almost doing $3 million a year at that point. I meet a lot of other great people that been in the business for 15 and 20 years, and they're doing $300,000, $500,000 a year. What I'm learning is that they are so passionate about, the type of blowers that they use, the type of dehumidifiers that they use, how they set up the equipment in the car. And in my mind, I'm thinking, strategy, marketing, I'm thinking brand, and I already figure out how to generate a lot of leads in LA. Sitting there, I said, okay, if what stops you from growing, and this is what I thought then, now I know it's a lot more than just leads, is generating leads. I can help you because I know how to generate leads. I can market in your area. I'll generate leads, and then we'll work out the license agreement. Right? So you pay me a referral fee for every leads that I give you. So this is how we started. So we got a few guys in that work for us in a few areas, and we worked out a license agreement, we called it, and we gave them leads, and they paid us a commission on every lead that they got. Right? Now, it worked very, very well. So, wow, okay, we can really generate leads. And another part that, because the way I build my company is, look, I'm not good in cutting drywalls. It's not my strong suit. I'm not good in drying houses. I just care about clients, right? And care about the team. So I hired people that were really good in doing water damage, mold, fires, and all that. So the team that I have working in LA supported the licensees that I brought in different countries. So I'm saying, wow, okay, I can bring them in, I can support them, and I can also giving them leads. So the lawyer that I work with, he says, like, Idan, now you're getting to a point that you cannot use the license agreement. We need to switch it now to a franchise because you're looking to grow it and you're looking to make it bigger. I said, okay, what is a franchise? So I jumped in, read about franchise, how franchise works, start looking at business cases because I didn't know anything about it. And then we decided to franchise the company. That was a whole process by itself that we try to figure out. And again, a lot of mistakes, and there's a whole story there. And so they understanding the internet, and then there is more to it that happened in the background. I already got into developing softwares, so I understand how can I build a software, what is the structure. I already had a bigger team in place. I got involved in other businesses. So all that experience helped me now. Then I brought everything that I learned now into the franchise space. So I build my own softwares. We have our own marketing, right? We build our own processes. And that really helped us to bring a strong system. And with the attitude of be the fresh starts and what the impact that we want to have, all that works very well together.
That's wild, man. Well, yeah, obviously we'll need to do a follow-up conversation. I want to be respectful of your time. So, so get out of the truck. It's available. Where are you primarily selling this? Is this on Amazon too?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. Yeah.
It's on Amazon. I know because you sent it to me directly. So I got one of the first copies, and it very easy to read, great insights, especially targeted at, if you're a technician and thinking about, branching out and doing some entrepreneurial efforts, or maybe you're interested in franchising with 911 restorations in one of the areas they're not at. So I enjoyed the book, man. It's very practical, very easy to read, and very personal. You kept the story very personal. So, which I appreciate, because it's not just business theory, it's tied to reality, right? So thank you for coming on. Is there anything you mentioned it's important to grow? So has there been something recently that's been challenging you, or that you're kind of processing through that's has challenged you either personally or professionally?
Yeah, there's always I think the way my goal now is take our team and the way we work now to the next level.
Yeah.
Right. And for that, I need to be able, as a leader, to give more space and be better at developing other leaders.
Yeah.
Right. So the way I communicate, the information that I share, how can we now take it from where we are to the next level?
Right.
Now, because it's clear to me that I create my own reality. So I always go internally and see, okay, how do I see things? How do I approach things today? And how would I approach them if I was here?
Yeah.
Right. And then whatever I say, you know what, if I would be here, I would approach it in a different way. So I'm bringing it, I'm trying to simplify so I don't sound too, how do I start behaving today like I'm already there? Right. And there is a stronger team, our ability to go and acquire businesses, our ability to go and scale even faster. How can we get our franchisees to get out of the truck a lot faster?
Right.
I want to see my franchisees being more successful. I don't want to see them still in the truck for the next 10, 20 years.
Right.
So how can we take everything, all the systems and everything that we develop, and now take it one step higher? So I'm always pushing myself so I can pull the team.
Yeah.
Right. It's not pushing the team. It's inspiring the team enough that they say, oh, wow, we need to involve. I need to become a leader.
Yeah.
Right. So creating more leaders around me.
Yep.
So as I have more leaders, we can bring in more opportunities. The whole thing goes up. Right. So it's all about people. But the number one thing as a leader, you have to evolve.
Yeah.
You have to. This is my biggest thing with everybody around me. Like, you have to grow the salespeople, people in the field, people that support our franchisees. Share with me one new thing that you learned.
Yeah.
One new habit that you introduce to your life. This is the small steps that make a huge difference over time.
Yeah. I was so fortunate. One of my mentors early on, Denis, so I had him on the podcast. He was on episode 15, and that's exactly like you're talking about. I think the best thing he did for me was he knew who he was, right? When a leader knows, I am good at this and I am good at this, and these are the areas I need help, that creates a lot of opportunity for other people to say, hey, I can help with that. And then as a leader, like you're talking about, being able to trust that person and empower them to say, okay, I'm going to progressively give you more and more responsibility. And when I think exactly like you said, if you're a manager or if you're owner or leader, when you recognize if you're trying to do everything, you're not creating any room for anybody else to support you and make your life easier. But like you said, having that vision, hey, I want to get to here. I'm good at this and I can help us. I need these people to fill in these spots. And that's what gets people excited, right? When they're operating, for a time you have to do everything, and then you slowly try to build the team around you and then scale. And that's awesome, man.
It's fun.
Yeah. Yep. Well, very good. Well, thank you so much, Idan. And hopefully this will be the first of many. And I finally got my author books in, so I'll give a short plug. Be Intentional Estimating by John Isaacson. So I've got yours. I signed it, and I'm going to mail some out today. So hopefully it'll be there soon. So
thank you very, very much.
Yep, and we'll be looking forward to, what'd you call it? The
Struggle is Real.
Struggle is Real. So I'll be looking forward to seeing that one come out. So
cool.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, buddy. Bye for now.
You and I have witnessed many things, but nothing as bodacious as what just happened.
There are so many great takeaways from this conversation with Idan and from his book, Get Out of the Truck, Build the Business You Always Dreamed About. It's funny, like he talks about, it's getting out of the truck. One quote he has in there is, be open to bringing on extra help if there are areas where you fall short. Remember, you do not need to be good at everything. You just need to be really good or even great at something, and actively look for ways to use that strength to your company's advantage. So, we talked about that, especially I learned that early on from Denis. We interviewed him in episode 15 of the DYOJO podcast about how when a leader is clear on what they're good at, it helps them to focus on that and then identify areas where they need some assistance. And just like I talked about in that opening with Skylar Lewis from Superior Restoration, he was a guest on the podcast as well. It's like, start to create some SOPs. Sometimes we get too lost in creating the systems, but when you start to document what you do, you can potentially delegate that to other people so you can focus on the areas that you really need to be hands-on. And there's different views on delegation and that kind of thing. Someone was just sharing with me, I think it was Berkshire Hathaway, they're talking about delegate to the point of neglect, and some people are like, only delegate, once you know for sure it's something you can hand off. But identifying what you're good at is really a great exercise for you as a person in a position of leadership and creating opportunities for other people. And so that getting out of the truck, but then also The Struggle is Real, his next book, about staying out of the truck, is key. Probably my favorite quote from his book is, I cannot tell you how many times a business owner has complained to me that business was slow because of the marketing, but then when I called their store, the receptionist was rude, disinterested, or unhelpful. That's not to put the receptionist on blast, because then managers can say, well, it's it was our receptionist, blah 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 blah. Well, just like we said in the video on common sense, who's responsible for common sense? Who's responsible for setting the expectations? Now, did that receptionist just have a bad day, like we all do, and messed up? Or is there poor training, poor communication, that person's not feeling supported, so they're rolling that out to the customers? If you're the owner and every time your people are coming to you, hey, this customer has an issue, that's going to trickle down in people's responses to things. So which is another thing Idan brought up, your company can't evolve beyond your investment in your personal development as well as the professional development of the whole team. So it's like, you're not investing in development, but you're expecting this great output. And that's what we talk about. We're helping at the DYOJO, helping you maximize business outputs through intentional inputs. They don't have to be something crazy. It's pretty amazing. Be intentional estimating, just some of the simple things you have to do to tweak your process to get a more consistent outcome. Same thing in business. A lot of it is like, if you want to lose weight or you want to gain muscle, we all know the basics of it, but sometimes having somebody push you is what we need. And sometimes they hang on too long or we keep them on too long because they become a safety net. So, but talking about that customer experience as you scale, that I think is impressive in the 911 story, is not just building it but scaling it, because that's when it becomes difficult. You're no longer directly there overseeing the operation. You've scaled it to multi-site and you've franchised. How do you keep it consistent? And so I love too that perspective. We often overestimate what we can accomplish in 1 year, but underestimate what we can accomplish in 5 to 10 years. So, love the conversation. Idan's been very approachable and wants to share, what he's learned in his process. And kudos to them for what they built at 911 Restoration. We've got a couple of guests coming up. We're going to be revisiting Andy McCabe. He's going to join us for Pro versus Joe. Man, they got some delicious craft beers out there in Bend, Oregon. If you've never been, just beautiful. Beautiful in the summer for water sports and lakes and those kinds of things. And then beautiful in the winter with the snow sports. So Karen Hardy, we're planning to get her from Flip This Risk. Chris Stanley from the IA Path. And we've got Lisa Lavender was my most recent conversation. She's coming to talk about culture and those kinds of things. So it's stacked. I mean, you're stuck with me for now, but thankfully we get good guests to offset, any lack of talent on my end from the DYOJO podcast. Please subscribe, like, share, do all the things. TheDYOJO.com/listen is now the new kind of, learning how to make this all work, okay? And soon we'll be having merch options. So, got this nice hoodie from the DYOJO podcast in the classic red. Frank's wearing the DYOJO podcast t-shirt 2.0. We got the long sleeve. Hopefully we'll be having some stickers and maybe some hat options too, so keep an eye and ear out for that. Thank you for listening and supporting. What is it? Be excellent to each other.
Be excellent to each other.
And party on, dudes.
This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.